Kentucky. Your third runner-up, Louisiana, Makiva Armat Muhammad. Second runner-up, Maryland, Christine Rich. The next name I will announce will be your new Mrs. Earth USA, who will be representing the USA at an international competition this fall. If for any reason our Mrs. Earth USA cannot fulfill her duties, the first runner-up will take her place. Ladies, ready? Your Mrs. Earth USA is Alabama, Meredith Pope. Your first runner-up is Kentucky, Christina Lee.
Mr. World, come on. Christina Aguilera. Oye, mamita. Dale, que la cosa está rica. Feel this moment. Reporting live from the tallest building in Tokyo. Long ways from the highways. Bill souls in OAs. They count it always. 305 all day. Now, baby, we can party. Oh, baby, we can party. Street books, especially about rap rooms and tie-ups. I got a hook.
Congratulations, Alabama. Please take your first walk as Mrs. USA Earth 2021.
Now let's stop time and enjoy this moment.
Make some research about you, and I see your journey in pageantry is terrific, impressionant, amazing for me, because you begin your journey in teen category.
Yes, back in 1991.
Yes, you are Miss Teen Georgia USA.
Yes, I was. Yes,
It's
and
very-
it was a second time around I won. The first time I entered it was my very first competition, and I showed up and I looked like I was going to prom in the 80s. It was really bad. I looked terrible. I had no idea what I was doing, and I just decided, okay, this is what I want, and I'm going to come back, and next year I'm going to win this. And I came back full throttle. I was ready. Huge difference, 180 degrees difference. I have to show you a photo. I'll have to find one. You'll get a kick out of how I looked the first time. But I love to show pageant girls that, because I say, look, we all have to learn, right? We all learn and we all grow, and see what happened to me. I think I probably came in last place.
What do you like in pageantry? What do you like the most in pageantry?
I love that. To me, it was my sport growing up. I never really had a sport that I connected with until I was in my 30s, go figure. But I love that it's my sport, and it always gave me something to look forward to and to strive for. It kept me physically fit. It still does. It keeps me mentally fit. And it's just fun all around, you know? I mean, it's just a sport that you can do, that you get to wear high heels and you get to really grow yourself as a person. And one of the things I love the most about the Miss Earth organization is that we are always learning. we're always growing, we're always learning. For me, I walked into this job with a good amount of knowledge on the environment and things, but it just every day I'm learning more and more, and it won't stop. So I love that aspect of pageantry, that it really forces you to become a force. You know, it really does help.
Madam Mrs. International 2021, Yolanda Stennett said me during the interview, when you love pageantry, you can stop pageantry. And do you think you can stop pageantry?
No, I thought I was finished, right? Then I started coaching some friends of mine's daughters. So some girls I went to college with looked me up and they said, you look, you know, we really need a coach. Can you help my daughter? And I thought, oh my gosh, sure, I'd love to. So that got me back started. I was coaching them and I was getting so involved with them and so excited. And I thought, you know, why don't you give yourself an opportunity to try the Mrs. group? And I did, and I love it. I kind of sometimes feel a little silly, but when I look at the big picture and I look at the big picture of why I'm here, it makes it really worth it. And when I explain that to people like my husband, he understands.
Yolanda and me, I discovered a new contest. It's not a very new contest, but it's a contest called Grandma Universe. And Yolanda said me, yes, my future pageant.
Right. I mean, you know, I'm hooked now. I'm back in, but I'm thankful now that I've won Mrs. USA Earth, and I can honestly say that was something I always wanted, to win a national title. And I came really close when I was a teen, and I just had always had it in my mind, and I finally was able to, and I'm so thankful.
Why did you decide to join Mrs. Earth USA last year?
Right. I was actually asked to judge our state competition back, I guess, 2 years ago. And I really wasn't very familiar with it. And it was something that I had sort of kind of said never because of the swimsuit competition. And I was too scared. But when I was actually judging, it was so evident that this system was growing quickly and their message was so powerful. It was so different. The Beauty for a Cause message is so different. And I was a closet green person back then. And I've always been what my friends and husband call me, the recycling Nazi. So when I found this system and I saw that I could do something so great for the environment and be with a system that was growing quickly, I thought, wow. And then, you know, when I was judging, it was great because I saw firsthand the quality of the directorships and the quality of the national production and directors. And it was just something that the swimsuit did not stop me one bit. Otherwise, you know, I would have been a little nervous, but I saw the big picture and realized it was just a great opportunity.
And which platform do you promote during your reign?
Right. So I promote a platform that I created called I Am Not Trash. And it is basically how to recycle water bottles. It stemmed from a water bottle. And I lived at the beach for a long time and saw how many water bottles were thrown away and not recycled. And those water bottles end up in the ocean. So my name, Meredith, means keeper of the sea or guardian of the sea. And when I saw how many water bottles and plastic were being thrown into our ocean, that was what created my platform of I Am Not Trash. So what I've done so far is I've created a book. I wrote a children's book called I Am Not Trash. And it's about a water bottle's journey through the ocean and how she is washed onto shore and found by some beach cleanup crews, and her journey continues on. I'm actually in the process. I've already written my second book and it's in editing right now. And it is Mary's journey, the water bottle, second half journey. So it's kind of exciting, but main thing for me is plastic. No plastic. I'm the plastic police.
In San Francisco, a French woman have created zero plastic. you must go to the shop with your recipe, your own recipe for all food, for all vegetable. It's a good way, do you think?
That's a great way. We have so many ways that we can stop using plastic. I know that plastic is here to stay. It's not something that I or anyone can say we'll never use again. That's just not realistic, especially in the medical fields. But where we can help are little ways, like you just said. When you go to the grocery store, why don't you take your own bags? Or why don't you take your own produce bags? Little things like that add up. And that's what I've tried to spend my year doing, is teaching a lot of regular everyday consumers like myself how to eliminate plastic in their everyday lives.
And when you clean the beach, what do you do with the bottle, with the plastic you find?
Right. So there are two different opportunities that you can do. We have some bags that are biodegradable, and then we also have bags that are regular trash bags. So when you do a beach cleanup, you have to think big picture. Okay, like these probably may or may not get recycled, but at least they're not going to be in the ocean. They're not going to be washed out by the shore or the tide. So what we try to do is just say, okay, today I'm in charge of plastic and you're in charge of this, or you're in charge of that. So we kind of try and keep the water bottles or the aluminum cans in one bag so that we can take those to the right particular, dispensary, so that we can get those taken care of the right way. You just have to kind of have a plan. I mean, and sometimes it doesn't work that way, but a clean beach is better than a dirty beach. So you just have to kind of look at the big picture and say, okay, well, we can only do so much.
Do you know, with your bottle, your recycling bottle, we can create the protection for phone?
Yes, I heard that. There's just so many ways that you can use the plastic, and that's one of the things in my book that I talk about, is how the water bottle, she's washed ashore and she becomes a t-shirt. There are a lot of companies that make clothing out of recycled water bottles, and I think that's so cool. So yeah, there are a lot of ways we could do that, or companies can do that.
For the moment, because you crowned your new Mrs. Earth USA in few weeks.
I can't believe it. This year has flown by. It's frightening how fast it's flown by, and there's just so much to do, and I don't have enough time to do it. I hope the girl I crown, my successor, can have a lot of vision like I do, because there's just so much to do. Like I said earlier, I mean, you're always learning and you're always growing with this industry and this particular system. So you're never bored, I can tell you that.
What is your best memory of your reign?
That's hard, because I have had so many. My best memory, well, our director, our assistant director, Ariel, we were on a Zoom one day, and we were talking about our Earth Day plans and what we were going to do as a team, and advice, all that stuff. And she said to me, Meredith, so being that you are a former teacher and you're a Mrs., we'd like for you to read some books online for the children, and kind of use that. And I said, that'd be great. And then she said, but it'd be great if you could read your own book. And I said, well, Ariel, I don't have a book. And that was the moment that it kind of came together for the I Am Not Trash book to become. And so my favorite memory is when Ariel gave me that push that I needed. I'd always had this story in my mind, but she gave me that. And it was just such a great memory, because I don't think I would have had the wherewithal or the push I needed without her. So that's my favorite memory.
And have you some advice for someone who hesitated to enter at Mrs. Earth USA pageant?
Oh, for sure. So most girls, myself included, are a little intimidated by it because of the environmental aspect. I hear this so much, but Meredith, I don't have a project. I don't know. I love the earth. I'm green, but I don't know. I don't own my own recycling business, or I don't do this, or I don't do that. I'm not a scientist. And so my advice is, don't let that scare you away, because I wasn't either. I am just a regular girl. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I found my desire to help the earth through just my everyday living. And that's what the system does. So my advice is, don't be afraid if you're not a scientist or, environmentally, own your own business. Don't be afraid. Just come and let it organically happen, like it will.
In what way do you think you are impact positively your community to protect the planet with your title of Miss Earth USA?
Well, I always believe in what our system says is think local and act. Well, it's act local, think global. So it's like whatever you do in your local environment or your local community really expands globally. And so in my community, again, everyone sees me coming and they hide their water bottle or they hide their plastic straw. So I've gotten into their heads. So this is good. I love that. But, locally, what I do is I'm on a local TV show here in Atlanta a lot, and we talk about ways moms and dads actually can make green, healthy lunches, the way we can eliminate plastic Ziploc bags. I have a blog. I am a writer. And so I love to read to schools. I read my book to schools. I do Earth Day Zooms. I did a few of those for the local schools here in Atlanta, Georgia. So there's just a lot of different ways, but I would say the biggest way is that, everyone I meet, I bring it up somehow, and it just gets in their head, and I love that.
With the pandemic of COVID-19, it's not too difficult to be Mrs. Earth USA.
Yeah, it really was. But fortunately, and like I said, when I was interviewing for the job, one of my superpowers is that I'm media minded. And it might not be very great technical, but I know the media and I know how to use my talents with Zooms and my writing. And so I use those avenues to reach people. And to be honest with you, I feel like I've reached more people through that than I would have in a regular year. So, just with social media alone, I was able to have a best-selling book on Amazon in the children's category. So it was hard, but you just have to use your creativity and move on.
And are you a superwoman to manage all with the same time all things? You are mother, you are writer, you are your job, you are title holder. It's not too difficult to manage all things at the same time.
Sometimes it's very difficult, but you have to just plan. I have days where I only do my housework, and I try to schedule my interviews and my meetings and my work, if you will, on other days that I know I can really focus on that. Planning is so important. That's with anyone, right? I mean, any job you have to plan. I still use an old-fashioned day timer calendar. I just really have to plan, and getting up early is key, I feel, for all of us. 1 hour earlier, just get up and be able to plan your day and really focus on yourself for a few minutes. Have some coffee, just breathe, instead of just hitting the ground running at 7 when your kids are screaming and ready to go to school.
You say me you are a writer. What is your next book?
Yeah, so the first book was called I Am Not Trash. And like I said, it was the water bottle's journey, right, through the ocean. Well, in the second book, she's actually, she has a journey as well, but she turns into a superpower. She turns into a girl, a real girl, and she becomes a superhero. And so it is called Earth Girl, and it should be released first, maybe spring of 2022. And I have big plans for Earth Girl. She is a vision of my daughter mixed with a little Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games.
Where I can find your first book?
Sure, you can find it on Amazon. If you just type in I Am Not Trash by Meredith Pope, it should pull up very quickly.
What is the most difficult for you, the most challenging, to be mother or to be beauty queen?
Mother, no doubt. I can
Why?
throw on some lashes and a sash and I'm good, but a mother is very difficult. And a mother of a well, she'll be 13 in January, so you can only imagine. Yeah, that's very difficult. But I love my children and I'm so thankful. But, you know, balancing motherhood and wifehood and just being myself and having free time, that's always a challenge for us, but I wouldn't change it for anything.
And I read you have a podcast too. We create some podcast about dyslexia. It's only dyslexia, or you can talk about the protection of planet.
Yeah, so I have two podcasts. The first one was my original podcast, and that's called Dyslexia Jewels. Dyslexia Jewels is a podcast that talks about positive stories of people living with dyslexia across the world. We've interviewed people with dyslexia who've started schools in Africa and India and the United States. We have a variety of stories on that show. The second podcast I started when I was crowned Mrs. USA Earth, and that is called I Am Not Trash as well. And we talk about environmental topics and mainly recycling. It's an educational podcast. I really want to teach people how to recycle. I didn't know that if you threw a water or let's say a Coke can, even aluminum can in the trash, if it's not clean, they're not going to recycle it. So, you know, there are a lot of things that we have to remember when we recycle. If it's dirty, it will not be recycled. If it's not dry, it will not be recycled. So those are some topics that I've really focused on this year to really move forward with teaching people the proper way.
Do you think you can write a children's book to educate the next generation to protect the planet, to recycle the plastic?
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, what was the question? I didn't understand.
Do you think you can, in the future, write a children's book to educate the next generation to protect the planet or to recycle the plastic?
I will, yes, I do. And I think that that's the most important part of being a mentor or a title holder is, you know, it's all about teaching our children to think differently and to learn and educate themselves. My son, even, he's 8. And his mind is a sponge, and every time now I've brainwashed him, or maybe I've taught him, I should say, not brainwashed, that when he sees trash on the side of the road, he'll say things like, "Mom, we need to have a cleanup here," you know. And I think, well, not on the side of the road, but maybe still a little safer area. However, it's, again, I've gotten into his brain and I've got him thinking about it, and I like that. And that's how we have to think about with children. You know, we have to really get into their minds and start thinking differently and help them think about the future.
I imagine you continue, you push your platform after you reign with your personal platform. What kind of legacy, which kind of legacy do you want to leave behind you after you reign?
That's a wonderful question. And it's something that I really need to think about for a second. There are a lot of things I want to leave. You know, environment for sure, but in general, my attitude towards women like myself is that we really have the power to do anything we want to do. Don't let your age stop you. Don't let your financial status stop you. Don't let your education level stop you. You know, I'll be 50 in October and I am just getting started. I don't know if I'll compete anymore, but I'm just getting started on things that I've always wanted to do. So I want my legacy to be that women, please don't let your age or your situation stop you. Really, if there's something you want, try your best to do it, because you'll always regret it if you don't.
I read in the Washington Post, an editorialist write, "A spoon, a mother have nothing to do in the pageantry." What do you think about this?
So the first part, I didn't understand what you said. So you said something does not have to do with the pageantry. What was the first part? Age or what?
It's about a spoon. A married woman have nothing to do to compete, have nothing to compete in pageantry. For the journalist, it's impossible. You can to be a mother and to be a beauty queen.
Right, right. Oh, I see what you're asking. Oh, that's ridiculous. You know, I feel, so to be honest with you and to give you a very brief summary, after I had children, I was depressed, and it wasn't because I was depressed about being a mom. I love my kids. And if you asked me, Meredith, what was your goal of life? It was to be a wife and a mom. I wanted that so much. But then when you get there and you don't have a job anymore outside of the home, or you are just, you're tired, you're hungry, but you can't eat because your child takes your food from you, you know, so whatever. You just lose yourself, and you lose Meredith, and you lose Mélanie, and you lose who you are. And if it weren't for pageantry, I would be still depressed. I wouldn't have a book. I wouldn't have my friends I have friends now from all over the world. I talk to Mrs. Canada World is one of my closest friends, and she and I talk all the time. How would I have ever met her, you know, if I weren't in these competitions? I have friends, I'm from the South here. One of my closest friends is from Wisconsin. You know, it's just, it has changed my life for the better. I love my family so much, but I couldn't imagine not having the goals and the accomplishments I have now without being in pageants. It just wouldn't have happened.
For you, pageantry helped you to become a better person.
It really did.
And
I'll tell you one thing, the best diet you'll ever go on is knowing you're going to be in a swimsuit on a stage. You won't cheat. No, ma'am.
personally, I can't participate to the beauty contest because for me, swimsuit parade is impossible.
I thought too, I did too. But the cool thing about, and that was, like I said earlier, it was one of my main hesitations about competing again in my 40s. You know, I've always been, quote, skinny, but there's a difference in fit and there's a difference in skinny. So I just had to really make myself get healthier. I wasn't healthy, like I said. I mean, I was just eating to get by, and you know, but once you get into this mindset of, okay, my body is now my vessel, I want it healthy, it helps a lot. But the cool thing about Earth is that you don't just walk out in a swimsuit. You have lots of different props and sarongs and capes and things. So it's nice because you're not just out there like, hey, look at me. It feels more natural. In fact, we did our preliminaries by the pool. It was wonderful because it was like, oh yeah, I'm just out by the pool. And in fact, the girl who won swimsuit last year, she wore we all wore one pieces, but she wore a one piece, and it just seems like you know, you can still win in a one piece. You don't have to always wear a tiny bikini. Yeah.
Miss Earth USA and Mrs. Earth USA is the beauty pageant without stereotype. It's not the right place at Miss World or Miss Universe where you have a stereotype. In Miss Earth, we have no stereotype. For me, it's a good pageant.
I've been around, like I said earlier, you know, I've been around since the 90s, and I've spent a lot of times with different systems, judging, directing, competing, and it is by far the best. I can't, and I'm not just saying that because I'm the queen. I would not waste my time, and those who are watching this who know me know I would not waste my time if it weren't top notch. I've been so impressed, so thankful, and I'm trying to figure out how I can stick around.
After this title, you say me, you have the coaching of your daughter. Your daughter competed in which system in United States?
So my daughter does not compete. I don't think I could actually handle that. It would be too stressful. but some friends of mine's daughters were competing and they asked me to coach them. And they were in High School America, Miss High School America. They were in Miss Georgia Teen USA. So USA and High School America mainly. But, you know, but I can't get my daughter. I would not want that. It would be too high maintenance, and she's already quite the diva.
Coaching is another job for you. You are very busy for the next year.
Right. Yeah, I'm very busy. Yeah, she keeps me on my toes.
What is your guilty pleasure in life?
Guilty pleasure. Ooh. So not to you know, encourage people to drink alcoholic beverages. However, I love to binge watch Netflix or Hulu. And I have this really awesome chair that I bought myself. It's a recliner. So my guilty pleasure is to sit in my recliner watching whatever series on Netflix or Hulu with, I love Coors beer. Coors beer, there's one that comes in these little cute brown bottles. It's called Coors Banquet. And I love a Coors Banquet and frozen marshmallows. That and watching Netflix, like that is my, if you could just have any, yeah, that's vacation for me.
What is the last TV series do you watch on the Netflix?
Oh, wow. The last one was, I think it was Good Girls. That one was wonderful. The Handmaid's Tale, I got really into that. I loved it. It was a little dark, but it was still fun to watch. And then I loved Good Girls. Good Girls. And right now we're just starting, everyone was talking about Yellowstone, and I had never watched it before. So now I'm starting it. I'm on season 1, I think episode 4 or 5, I think, just to get it caught up because I have to see what it's all about.
Are you a good chef in the kitchen?
No, I'm awful. I do not like to cook at all. I do not.
Who cook in your house?
I cook, but I don't like it, and I'm not good. I do the basics. Thankfully, my children like just grilled chicken, broccoli, and rice. They would eat that every meal. And my husband likes really simple stuff, so that's good. He likes grilled meat. He's definitely a meat man. So I like that they're just simple, but I do not like to cook at all. Mm-mm.
Which small thing make your day better when you have a bad day?
Again, the marshmallows and the beer. I don't think I can really, I don't think I could ask for more. And then if I have a bad day, my husband says, all right, I'll take care of the kids, which, you know, means just him going, go take your bath. If he would just do all of that and let me sit in my recliner, and I would be thrilled.
Your husband is happy by the end of your reign?
You know, he's enjoyed it. He likes saying that he's Mr. Earth. So, you know, he loves that part. But, you know, I mean, he's sort of indifferent about it. He knows it makes me happy. And I think he sees that I've done a pretty good job balancing everything. So I think he's a little indifferent.
If you can design a perfect planet, what would the planet look like?
The perfect planet. Okay. Yeah. Well, we would have less global warming, so that we know that in 2050, we won't have some major disasters that are predicted to happen. We would have no single-use plastics. We would only be able to use plastic when it's necessary in certain areas. We would have children who don't bully each other. We would have more resilient children. And then we would have children who can read. Everyone deserves that opportunity to be able to learn to read. And regardless of their socioeconomic situation, they're given equal opportunities to learn to read. That's something that is really close to my heart.
I imagine you use a lot of social media to promote your planet, to promote your book, to promote your journey. Do you think it's not too dangerous, the power of social media today? because we have a dark side on social media.
Oh, yes, it certainly can be. And I really try to think twice before I post anything. I think twice about letting the population know whether I'm home or whether I'm not. And, you know, and it's not to be negative, but you just have to be smart about it. Always think before you post. Is this necessary? Is this going to hurt someone? And there have been a lot of times when I wanted to post things that I didn't think, I mean, I thought about and I thought, oh, that's not going to come across very nice. So I don't, but it does have a big power, especially with our children. It's consuming our children, and it's scary.
Have you learned to your children, to your kids, to use social media to think before posting something on social media?
Oh, we've had lots of discussions about that. Yes. I personally, we had an incident with my daughter, and I'm very open about that. She's a very good girl, but the music that they're listening to now, it's desensitizing them. It's making them just everyday curse words, things that they say. It's just everyday language for them. And as they're making TikToks, doing these dances and these ridiculous songs, I'm like, you don't understand what that is portraying, you know, of you and your image. You don't have the maturity right now to understand that that is what people think of you, even though that's not how you are. And it's frightening. I'm not going to lie. So I pray about it all the time, because I'm telling you, it's tough. That social media is really hard in this world for children, and being a parent and monitoring it.
What is your preference? TikTok, Facebook, Instagram for you? What is your preference?
Well, I'm not really big on TikTok because I want to be, but it just is at almost 50. I'm definitely more of an Instagram person. I tried, and I linked my Instagram so it would go straight to my Facebook, so I only have to do one post. But yeah, I'm definitely Instagram.
If I look your Instagram, what I find about yourself?
Well, you'll find a very unhealthy amount of posts about my dog. He is my fur child, and I love him so much. But you'll find a good variety of things about the planet, about being a mom, and about just funny everyday things that happen to us. I have a new nephew, so I like to post about him. And yeah, I mean, it's just you'll see a good dive in on what Meredith goes through every day.
If you be grateful for one thing, only one thing in the life, what is it?
Grateful. I am grateful for the fact that I have a husband who loves me and always wants to hang out with me. Yeah, I'm so grateful I have a loving husband. He gave me all this opportunity, you know, children and a beautiful life. So very, very thankful for that.
What are you most proud in your family?
I'm proud that my children, well, that I know of, there may be some instances on TikTok, I don't know, but I'm proud that my children are kind children. I really teach them to be inclusive. I teach them to not look at skin color or where someone lives, to really be friends with everyone. And so far they're proving that right, and that makes me happy. I'm very proud of that.
My last question. Have you a message for your fans?
A message for my fans. Well, thank you for the support and the year of just growing continuously. It's been the most fabulous year I could ever imagine. But thank you for buying my book, and thank you for believing in the I Am Not Trash campaign, because it takes one person to make a change, and you will snowball and snowball into a huge, huge change for the world. So just thank you.
Bye.